Hi and welcome to my channel. So as you know, the UK is a country that has very strict immigration laws and rules, but they're very well, outlined on their website, which means that if you're moving to the UK, the ultimate goal is that in 5 years from the date you move to the UK, hopefully, you're going to be applying for indefinite leave to remain, which is permanent residency in the UK. There is nothing better than the joy that you receive when you get that document and know that you're free from immigration laws and restrictions. But most importantly, you can apply for your UK passport in a year's time. So, if you're new to my channel, obviously you're welcome. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you 4 of the top reasons why if you do any of these 4 things, you need to forget the indefinite leave to remain, forget a British passport, but worse still, you're going to be risking deportation from the UK. So these are things that if you're on a UK visa, you must never do any of these things in the UK, because if you do, you're at risk. These are some of the things that many people do them unconsciously, they're not aware, but they're not things that are allowed. So if you're a returning subscriber, I appreciate your time. If you haven't joined this family, take this opportunity now to hit the subscribe button so that you're the first person to be notified every single day when I drop a new video on here at 10 a.m. prompt UK time, because I'm on a mission to make sure I bring you the best opportunities that exist in the UK. Also, I have a free newsletter by the way. I've dropped the link in the comment section below where I send information such as this directly to your inbox, free visa sponsorship opportunities to move to the UK or switch if you're already in this amazing country, career progression pathways, progression opportunities, side hustle ideas, work from home jobs. So you're also going to find my contact details on there. There's my WhatsApp number, my email address. Do feel free to reach out. If there's anything that you're like, hey Melvis, you're talking about ABC, I'm thinking about XYZ, do reach out. The newsletter is completely free. It won't take you 20 seconds to join and you're part of it. So what is the first thing that we're going to talk about? The first thing is the hours of work that you're working. To get indefinite leave to remain in the UK, the law as of today says that you must be working full time on a work visa for the person that has sponsored your visa in the UK for a period of at least 5 years. So you don't have to have the same employer for all 5 years, but whichever employer has given you sponsorship at that point in time, you must be working for that employer. And this is something that many people coming to the UK now, many of you are going to have problems in 5 years' time. You may not realize that it is a problem, but 5 years, when you apply for indefinite leave to remain, if you've come to the UK now and you're not working for the employer that has given you sponsorship, you will be in trouble in 5 years' time. And this is such a big thing because the UK work visa, you can only have it for a maximum of 6 years. After 6 years, you cannot renew a UK work visa, which means that if you have not been doing the right things, your indefinite leave to remain, if it's refused, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Obviously, I'm not an immigration minister, but these are things that I'm saying out of even my own experience because I've gone through this journey, to now getting a British passport. So there are, this is something that is very serious. And like I say, many people coming now don't realize it. If you have visa sponsorship from an employer that doesn't have work for you, you must, as a matter of urgency, find another employer because it doesn't affect that employer in any way. They could lose their license, obviously, but for you as a candidate, when you apply in 5 years' time, you will not get indefinite leave to remain. And somebody said to me the other day, Melvis, how do they find out? Well, they know that because your national insurance says who you're working for and how many hours you're working and everything. And that is because of your pension and all of that. So the Home Office knows how many hours you're working and with which employer at every single time. So when you apply for indefinite leave to remain, that is one of the criteria that they check in order to see whether you're eligible and whether you can have the privilege of getting that document. And by the way, I do have a private career coaching program where I offer personalized, tailored, one-to-one, individualized support with getting legit free UK visa sponsorship opportunities. Look, my program is not for people that are kind of like just surfing around and don't want to do the work. It's only for people that are willing to put in the effort, they're willing to do the work. It is not the easy path, it is the path that we should rightfully so be taking. Is that guidance, which are the employers, how do you do your CV, What about the interview? What is expected? That's what my program is all about. So, like I say, it's not for everybody, because I know some people are looking for easy ways, shortcuts. They don't want to be part of the process. Some people don't want to do an interview. People don't want to apply for jobs. They don't want to do a CV. My program is not for those people. It's for the few people that want to do things legally so that they are on the right track in the UK. When you get your visa sponsorship, your employer is legit, you're working, you're following the rules, and you're going through the process, as slow as it may be, but the right path. So if you check the description box below or the about section of this channel, you're going to see a link to join. And so once you join, we get started ASAP immediately with that process. So like I say, if you're in the UK and your employer doesn't have full-time hours for you, you must find another employer as a matter of urgency, because you may think that it's not a problem now, but in 5 years' time, when you apply for indefinite leave to remain, you're going to have that gap and you will not get indefinite leave to remain. This is something that no one is going to tell you today, but you're going to look back and say, if I had known, I would not have done anything. Again, some people are saying you can just get a job with another employer and that's okay. It's not okay, because you have to be working for that employer and there's no evidence of that, and it's going to affect you. If it doesn't catch up with you now, it's going to catch up with you in 5 years' time. So be very, very careful with this. The next thing, obviously, like I've said, is the hours that you spend out of the UK. And by the way, do feel free to share this video with your loved ones, colleagues, family, so that they're aware of some of these laws and rules and regulations, and they can avoid this as much as possible. The next thing is that of hours outside of the UK. If you're on a UK visa sponsorship, you cannot be out of the UK as much as you want. There is a strict rule with a specific amount of time that you can stay out of the UK. If you stay longer than that out of the UK, you will not get indefinite leave to remain in the UK in 5 years' time. Again, this is something that many people are not aware. I know people that are like, hey, I'm just going to do my visa, and then I'll go back home because I've got my business, I just need a UK document. No, you're not going to get indefinite leave to remain. Again, if you're watching this, if you know the maximum period of time that you can spend out of the UK on visa sponsorship, how much is it? How many months is it? How many weeks is it? Leave that in the comment section below. Let's see how many people know about this. So if you're on visa sponsorship and you go out of the UK for X amount of time, you're not allowed to do so. Again, people are not aware. They think, oh, you've got visa sponsorship, you can be out of the UK, pop in when you can. I know people who are like, hey, I've got my wife or my husband, I'm just going to pop in when I can. It's not going to work, because in 5 years' time, you will not get indefinite leave to remain because of how much time you've spent out of the UK. It is not allowed. You can go in and out of the UK, but there's a specific amount of time that you cannot stay out of the UK for longer than that in that period of time. Leave that in the comment section. Let's see how many people are aware. And by the way, if you're enjoying this content, hit the like button so that it lets me know you enjoy content like this, and obviously I should do more of it. The next thing is public funds. Yes, public funds. This is something that is always very highly contested, but it's one of the things that you're less likely to actually go against. And let me tell you why. If you're doing anything that needs public funds, or that says that you can't have that if you're on visa sponsorship, the fact that it's on your visa. Also, if you go to apply, the people will say to you, oh, Melvis, you cannot have these because you're not allowed to have public funds. It's really easy, which means that if you're a candidate, this is something that is not so much of an issue, because they're going to always check your documents to say, oh, if you apply for, I don't know, let's say student finance, if you're on visa sponsorship in the UK, you're not eligible for student finance, which means if you apply directly to study at university, you need to pay tuition fees as an international student. If you go and apply for student finance, they're going to ask for your eligibility criteria, and they'll say, have you got British passport? What's your visa status and all that. Once you present those documents, they're going to say to you, Melvis, you cannot have student finance because you're on visa sponsorship and you have no recourse to public funds. So it's really easy, because they'll say that to you. And if you go to ask for, say, I don't know, child tax credit, child benefits, these are benefits that are for people that are either indefinite leave to remain or British passport. They're going to say to you, you're not entitled. So again, it's one that is really easy, not to fall into, because they always check eligibility criteria. There are other things that don't make part of public funds. For example, if you're on maternity leave, you're on sick leave, you're on annual leave, access to the NHS, free healthcare. Well, I don't like to use the word free healthcare because it's not free. You and I are paying. There's also the healthcare surcharge, which is a ridiculously high amount of money. So it is not free healthcare in the UK. I would like to say healthcare in the UK is free at the point of use, but it's not the same as saying that it is completely free, because it isn't. So again, these are some of the things that are not classed as public funds, and that any of us can access them, anytime that we need those services. So you do need to be aware of the differences, and it's your duty as somebody on visa sponsorship to understand what the differences are, and to make sure that you're on the right track. If you're part of my private coaching program, we do go through these things in greater detail during our weekly live sessions. Also, if you've got any concerns about it, we can talk about it one-to-one to make sure that you're doing everything the right way, and that the process is being followed, and that you're not jeopardizing your indefinite leave to remain or British passport in 5 years. Because let me tell you, with everything going on now in the UK, it is going to be a very messy situation 5 years from today, because most of the people coming now on visa sponsorship are not respecting the immigration laws and rules. Many people are working for multiple employers. Many people have employers that don't have any jobs for them, and they're like, it's all right, I've got family here, I don't need to pay bills, I'm just going to live with my family. No. If you're on visa sponsorship, you must be employed and working. Legally, you cannot be unemployed on visa sponsorship. Whether you've got family here, you've got bills to pay, it doesn't matter, but you're protecting your situation in 5 years to come. Like I say, it's going to be a messy situation, for the people that will be privileged to be here in 5 years to see how everything unfolds. You need to be preparing a lot of money now for very good immigration lawyers in 5 years, because people that will not progress in their careers to have enough money to pay really good immigration lawyers, they're all going to be deported, because it's going to be a real tsunami. And so what is the next thing? Criminal offenses. Yes, there are some criminal offenses that if you have in the UK, you cannot have indefinite leave to remain, because that's one of the things that they check when you apply. So again, your group of friends, your colleagues, your habits, your experiences, everything you do has to be well calculated. Every move you make, you have to be very aware, because if you get involved with the wrong group and they do something and you end up in trouble, you will not be able to justify yourself or come out of that. So you need to make sure that you're clean, you're neat, you're legit in every single way. There are lots of other, reasons, obviously, but if you need to know more, leave that in the comment section below, and I'll, provide more information on some of these things that you can do, and you're going to lose your indefinite leave to remain, or indeed your British passport, in the UK. Recently, by the way, there was a gentleman that his British citizenship was actually revoked. So the UK, even if you already have a British passport, if later on in the future they feel that you had it illegally, or that there was something that was fishy about how you got it, they can take it back from you. And this is something that, and that's why it always makes me think, well, if you acquire a British passport, it's not the same as somebody who was born British. It's not the same, because if you take away my citizenship, as an immigrant, when I've gone through that process, it means that you're taking it away because I had another citizenship before. What about people who are born in this country, who are British, who've got no other citizenship? Is that possible for those people? So again, these are some of the ethical dilemmas that come when it comes to citizenship. And so each of us needs to be aware of what our situation is, because no two people are the same. I'm very much aware of my situation in every single aspect, and so I act accordingly, and I don't look at other colleagues and say, oh, this one did this, so why did they punish me for doing it, or this one didn't do it and nobody said anything? Because each person is an individual, and each person will be treated differently. The world is all about treating people fairly, but it's not the same as treating people the same. And there's no way that people are going to be treated the same, which means that it's up to you as an individual to understand your own personal circumstance. And like I say, if you're thinking about any of these things, or you're in any of these predicaments that we're talking about, ASAP, you need to make changes. You need to make amends. Worst of all, if your employer doesn't have jobs for you, or they don't have enough hours for you, you must, as a matter of urgency, find another employer to switch, because you're going to have a lot of trouble in 5 years, even if they don't revoke their license. Some people think, oh, if I've got visa sponsorship, whether they revoke their license or not, I'm okay because I've got a 5-year visa. That's not how it works. Again, these are things that if you need immigration support or advice, you need to contact an immigration lawyer, obviously, to be able to advise you. But like I say, 5 years from now, lots of people are going to be in deep trouble. And I hope that if you're watching this video now, you'll not be among. If you're still back home, you're in a privileged position because you've got the opportunity to do things the right way. from now, so that you move with your kids, with your family in a very good way. Also, just let me know what your situation is in the comment section below, and I'll be able to just offer my own guidance from personal experience, because like I said, I'm not an immigration lawyer. And I'll see you in this video right here.